Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be telling you my TBR for the BookTubeAthon. I've been in a massive reading slump most of the year, but I've kind of been in the mood to start reading again, and the BookTubeAthon is the perfect reason to get back into reading. Per usual, I am going to be structuring my TBR for the readathon around the challenges laid out. However, in this video, it's going to be a little bit more up in the air than usual because some of these challenges are a little more vague than they usually are, and some of them are ones that I don't actually fully intend on doing. Given my pale complexion and general aversion to being outside, I'm sure you can guess which one of those challenges that is, but I will get to it when we get there. Instead of going challenge by challenge, I'm going to actually end up going book by book, just because some of these books fit in different challenges, and like I said, some of the challenges are vague and some are ones that I don't actually intend to do. But I've made a little bit of a loophole for myself, so I will explain that when we get there. Also, I don't plan on posting videos every day of the BookTubeAthon because, per usual, I'm working. My schedule does not really make it so that I can post videos every day and still go about my everyday life. However, I do plan on filming updates throughout the week and doing a wrap-up video at the end, whether that's just the updates from the week or like some sort of review or something like that. That's what I intend on doing. The first book on my BookTubeAthon TBR is Illuminate by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is one that I am fitting into the slot of a hyped book. Now, it's been a while since this was a hyped book, but this was all over BookTube like a year and a half ago, and it's one that I've been meaning to read because it is such a hyped book, and so I'm finally going to be getting to it in the BookTubeAthon. Now, this is a pretty large book to be reading during a readathon. However, I'm going to actually be listening to the audiobook, and it's actually only an 11-hour audiobook because of the formatting of this book and how it has like different files and stuff like that. It's definitely not as long as it appears to be. And since I can listen to audiobooks at work, I can definitely get through this pretty easily throughout the week. I've heard good things about the audiobook, so I am excited about that. I do, however, kind of wish I was reading the physical book just because it has all of the interesting formatting and you can't necessarily see that in the audiobook, but I do know that there are different voice actors for the different characters, which is something that I'm really interested by, and I've heard that it's a really good audiobook, so I'm excited. The next book that I plan to read during the BookTubeAthon is the first volume of the Morning Glories comic series. I recently did a first chapter tag, and I'm not sure if it's going to be up before this video or not, but in that, I kind of realized that I was in either like a dark contemporary or like some sort of murder mystery mood, and I read the first chapter of If We Were Villains by ML Rio, and that kind of has a very similar vibe to what I think that Morning Glories will be. It takes place at a boarding school and it's got some really sinister undertones, and I don't know the full details of the premise of this, but it seems to be like either murder mystery-esque or like I said, something sinister underlying the things going on there, and that's definitely the mood I'm in, either like a dark contemporary or some sort of murder mystery, so definitely excited about this because I have the first volume. It fits perfectly. The next book I plan on reading, you're probably gonna be like, really, Kristen? And yes, really, Kristen. I'm planning on reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. If you're new to this channel, hey, hi, hello, this is my favorite standalone. I can't remember the last time I reread this. It was either the summer of last year or the year before, so I'm definitely due for a reread. Like I said, I'm in a bit of a murder mystery mood, and one of the challenges is to read a book that you bought because of the cover. I have 4 copies of this book because I've bought several copies because of the cover, and this was the one where I just absolutely loved this cover with the BBC version, so I got it because of the cover, and it fits perfectly into the challenge. It's my favorite standalone. I felt like I should reread it during the BookTubeAthon. I love this book, I love rereading it, and I know that it doesn't take very long to reread it, so for me, this is the perfect choice for this challenge. Plus, I was looking at my shelves, and I honestly don't really buy books just because of their covers anymore. It's something I haven't done in quite a while, so this was really the only one that legitimately fit the challenge. And either way, I always enjoy rereading this, and like I said, murder mystery mood. Next up are the first few volumes of Battle Royale by Koshan Takami. If you aren't aware, this manga is based on the novel Battle Royale, which I read back in May and absolutely loved. I honestly don't know how many volumes of this I plan on reading throughout the week. I am using these to complete some challenges, so I could end up getting really sucked back into this world again and want to read more volumes, or I could just read 1 or 2. I really don't know. Like I said, the challenges are vague enough this year and my books only kind of vaguely fit into them, so I am treating this TBR as something that's also kind of up in the air. There's a challenge to read a book about a character that's very different from you, and that definitely fits with this series. Maybe not necessarily the primary main character, but there are a lot of very, very prominent side characters that we see from the point of view of, and they are definitely very, very, very different from me. Not only in the fact that this series takes place in Japan and all of the characters are Japanese, but they're also young teenagers, and they also have some personalities and or make some decisions that I just do not co-sign. They're very, very different from me, and so that's why that one fits really well for that. I'm also going to be using this as a little bit of a loophole for the challenge of reading a book completely outdoors. I intend in no form or fashion to read an entire book outdoors. I could list off an entire long series of reasons why, but it all boils down to I hate being outside. If you haven't noticed, I'm incredibly pale. I burn super easily. I also don't have a really great place to sit outside where I live. There's really not anywhere I can go that I feel comfortable reading outside. Like, those are some of the reasons, but essentially it boils down to I don't like being outside. I'm not gonna read an entire book outside. But this series basically essentially takes place almost exclusively outside. So I'm gonna kind of use this as a little bit of a loophole. I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to at least incorporate the challenge into my reading, even if I don't plan on doing it explicitly. So just keep track of where we are in terms of the challenges so far. So far, I've addressed all of the explicit challenges because even though I haven't mentioned it, one of the challenges is to read a book that has a person on the cover, and so far I've listed 2. Scratch that, 4. 4 of the 5 books that I've mentioned so far have people on the cover, so I definitely have that challenge covered. The only challenges I haven't addressed yet are challenge 3, to read a book in 1 day, and challenge 7, the classic, read 7 books. Obviously, any books could be used to fulfill those last 2 challenges, and so far I've only listed 5 books, so I need to read 2 more throughout the week. And this is when my TBR goes a little bit up in the air. I honestly am not 100% sure what 2 books I plan on using to fulfill those last 2 challenges. I have a list of 4 books that I am deciding between, so I will go ahead and show those to you really quickly just to give you an idea of what I might be reading. The first of those is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. Now this is the book that I'm currently reading, but I'm literally only 20 pages in, and if I get to the point that the BookTubeAthon is starting and I haven't read any more of it, honestly, I might just go back to the beginning and start reading from there again because A, I will have probably forgotten stuff, and B, this is one that really intrigues me right now, so if I don't get to it by the BookTubeAthon, I might as well use the BookTubeAthon as an excuse to read it. Another that I'm considering is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I read the first chapter of this for a first chapter tag, and I was super, super intrigued, and so if I still haven't read this by the time the BookTubeAthon rolls around, I'm gonna be looking really seriously at trying to read this throughout the BookTubeAthon. Next up is Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde. I think I first saw this on Riley Marie's channel, and ever since I saw it on there, I've been super intrigued, and it finally came into my local public library, so I picked it up. This is definitely one that I could really see myself picking up over the week because not only is it super intriguing with like the fact that it's about geeky stuff and it takes place at a convention and deals with social media, but it's also a pretty small book, so it shouldn't take very long to read. Plus, it's a kind of cute contemporary, which is always a quick read. And then finally, the last possibility that I'm thinking about is the one by Kiera Cass, which, if you were here last year, was on my TBR last year as well. If you don't know about my relationship with this series, I will link you up in the cards to my video where I hate read the selection. I'm not a fan of this series, and you're probably wondering why I'm planning on reading the 3rd book in the series if I don't like the series. And it's because it's a quick read and I love making fun of these books so much. I also wrote a blog post alongside that video that I did on hate reading the selection. It's just such a fun series to read and kind of laugh at, and the fact that they're such quick reads makes it really ideal for a readathon. The only reason I might not read this for the BookTubeAthon is because I kind of do want to do something similar to what I did with the selection and do an as I read video and or blog post, and those take a while. It takes a while to do those while reading the book, and I'm not sure I'll have time to read this in a day and do those two things. It might not be feasible. But otherwise, this is such a quick read and so much fun to laugh at that it's definitely a high possibility that I read this during the BookTubeAthon. So that is my BookTubeAthon TBR. I'm really excited for the BookTubeAthon this year. I did not complete all the challenges last year, but I'm really hoping to do better this year and to actually stick through the entire week and to get myself out of a bit of a reading slump. I think I've really tried to cater to my mood that I'm in while still completing challenges, so hopefully this will really motivate me to just read a ton over the next week and be really excited about the community coming together for the BookTubeAthon. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I do intend on posting a video with updates throughout the week sometime soon after the BookTubeAthon ends, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you do want to keep up to date with my progress throughout the week, I will probably either be posting on Goodreads or Twitter, so definitely check down in the description to find my links to those places. And as always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.